We have some breaking news from the NHL. We have a trade between the Nashville Predators and the Colorado Avalanche as the Predators continue to turn over this roster. This time, Jusso Parssinen is on the move. We'll discuss the deal coming up next. So welcome back to another video here at Top Shelf Hockey. As I mentioned, we have a trade to announce between the Predators and the Avalanche. Of course, the roster freeze has been officially lifted from the NHL teams as of midnight last night. So we're now able to see these types of move. Waiver activity today as well. And here we have our first trade of the post-roster freeze part of the season. So we have a trade, like I said, between Nashville and Colorado. The Predators continue to turn over this roster and try to gain some flexibility. The Predators trade 23-year-old Jusso Parssinen and a 2026 seventh rounder to the Avalanche in exchange for Ondrej Pavel and a 2027 third-round pick. Now, Parssinen is a name that's been out there in the rumor mill leading into the Christmas roster freeze. This is not a huge shock that he's moved, and it's happened quickly after the freeze is lifted here. Parssinen is a prime example of a player who seemed to take a big step forward last year and looked like he was going to be a part of the team's future. And then they went out and spent a whole bunch of money on free agents and kind of found himself boxed out of a spot because of some longer-term contracts taken by Marchessault and Stamkos. So Parssinen last year ended up putting up 8 goals and 12 points in 44 games. Like I said, it looked like it was a good boost for him, a good development year. And then this year, he's only appeared in 15 games and put up 5 points. So he's only playing and averaging. That's half the games that he's missed, right? Most teams have played around 30 games or so right now, or a little bit more than. So, he hasn't been a regular. Obviously it's tough to find rhythm and put up good production when you're not in the lineup consistently as well. So his name has been out there because of the role he's been given this year. Like he had 2 consecutive years where he appeared in 40 plus games. His numbers were getting better. It looks like he was kind of building towards becoming a pretty regular player on this team. And then, like I said, the Barry Trotz seemed to have other plans this past summer, spending a ton of money on free agency. And well, that hasn't really worked out. So they've had to try to find a way to retool this roster. They've been making lots of moves, but they're mostly smaller moves because they do have a lot of big-time players on long-term expensive contracts that are probably not going to be going anywhere. You've got Marchessault, you've got Stamkos on new deals. You've got Philip Forsberg still with lots of term. Ryan O'Reilly, Roman Josi, obviously, goaltender UC Saros. So it's believed that Barry Trotz is kind of been up to something, and he's been kind of gaining cap flexibility after the trade with Montreal, where he sent Carrier to the Canadiens for Justin Barron, who can go to the minors. He freed up a good amount of space there. So it's believed, like he even made it known that he's creating space and he's intending to use it. This just gives him another little bit of flexibility, both roster-wise and cap-wise. So I expect at some point here in the near future, we're probably going to see a bigger move from Nashville. Now going to, of course, to the other way here from the Avalanche is Ondrej Pavel. He's a 24-year-old centerman who has spent 3 years at Minnesota State University. He's a pending restricted free agent, born in Czechia. Played for 2 games last year for the Avalanche. And this year he's got 2 years pro now, most of which in the American Hockey League, not a great production level. So he certainly does not project to be anybody who can play a top 6 role. Could he maybe be a call-up option for a bottom 6 role? I guess it's possible, but it's really hard to say. At 24 years old with what he has on his resume, it's more than likely he's going to be a minor leaguer. But only time will tell. Maybe things will work out for him. But considering, where the Preds are at, I just don't know that he's going to get that chance there. So Jusso Parssinen should get more of a role with the Avalanche. It adds another younger player into their mix with a low cap hit that can help them, in the short term here. They've had a lot of adversity this year, a lot of injuries and whatnot, and I think Parssinen will get more of a chance to play with the Avalanche. So he's a 23-year-old pending restricted free agent on a cheap contract, which, if he can do what he did with the Predators last year or even more, playing with some good talent in Colorado, then I think his odds of working out with them are decent. But only time will tell, of course. So let me know your thoughts on this trade between the Nashville Predators and the Colorado Avalanche in the comments. We'll discuss further. And also let me know what you think the bigger move that the Predators are working up to, because clearly they've been doing these smaller moves, creating cap flexibility, roster flexibility. Trotz has hinted at it himself as well. What do you think he's up to? Let me know in the comments. We'll talk about it further. And if you're new to the channel, of course, make sure you subscribe and stick around. And I will catch you next time.